Well, welcome everyone to the 5/20/21 POBSA meeting. Corinne is gone. She's missing in action. I think she's on a vacay or some sort.
Yep.
So I'm filling in. I'm gonna take off a little early. Then I believe Monica's gonna finish and close out the meeting. Just because I have to open my restaurant. So, well, the first thing on our agenda is our treasurer's report, but our treasurer is missing.
She just messaged her computer slow. She's coming.
Oh, good. Well, we'll come back to that if that's okay. We wanted to do a quick recap of May Day baskets and congratulate the winners. And I'm hoping Susan maybe can add a little to that. Did you find anything?
And then Leslie, I'm going to mute you.
I can't find anything.
Okay. Okay. Well, the recap, can you want to just add what you added before? Miss Bobby won.
Bobby won Bobby, I can't remember which category she won. The library won the most creative, and there was a second, an honorable mention. I think we were still waiting for the People's Choice.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Results. So I don't know who won that one.
Okay. But it seemed to have an okay turnout, not as good as previous years, correct?
Correct, but it was a pretty good turnout. It went all the way from the bank, from Kitsap Bank down to Nostalgia House.
Nice.
So yeah, there was a good number.
Here's a copy of Bobby's. She had a chair.
Oh, I did see that.
An old chair.
It looks really great.
It was really good. I was like, oh my God, I love that. And we stopped to see if we could buy it because it was before Mother's Day. And she's like, that's my May Day basket. I'm like, what?
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that happened. And I think it's something that Corinne really wants to continue doing. It's kind of a pet project for her and she loves it. So I'm sure we'll be doing it next year as well. For upcoming events, email just came in from Brandy Reinerson regarding the special events. It says, in light of recent comments made by the governor and the CDC's new guidelines, the mayor has added the discussion of special events to the May 25th, 2021 City Council agenda for them to reconsider the suspension of special event permits. So the mayor is proposing to the City Council to allow staff to accept special event applications on May 26th, with events allowed starting July 1st, 2021. It says Brandy will update event planners with a decision. So the three that are listed for us are Ladies Weekend Out, June 4th through 6th. And she was hoping Kathleen could talk on that, but I don't see Kathleen here. And then Artesian and Vintage Fair, July 16th and 17th. And that one, she has Susan down.
Yeah, we had plans pretty much firmed up. The team is going to meet next week to kind of discuss those details. Not many. We were going to just have a booth in the library park there that Kitsap Transit owns, and have a brochure that lists vendors who would have been there that we've had in the past, have information like our walking map if it's available, direct people to the various things that are available downtown. We'd still do the sailboat selfie. So we were ready to kind of have, and we're going to put something special in the boaters bags for the Chris Crafters because they are coming.
Nice.
And we announced on our Facebook page that that's what we're doing. And we had a lot of sad faces from both the vendors and the community. So we're going to evaluate if they're allowing us to have it. Our event is July 16th and 17th. We might be able to mobilize to have at least a small event with vendors and music. So stay tuned with that one.
Well, that would be fantastic. You know, I think because we haven't had any sort of celebratory celebrations, it seemed like if you were to do, if it was possible, you'd probably get a fantastic turnout. Because I think people are really aching to get out, and especially with Chris Craft being there. I mean, if that's possible, I think that'd be a real win-win. Does anyone else have anything to add to that?
Kathy, can you speak to Chris Craft Rendezvous?
Sure, absolutely. I had a phone meeting with Andy Carlson, their coordinator, and he's really excited. But I think they're kind of like everybody watching to see what the guidelines are going to be. So initially they were going to limit the number of boats and maybe not do their big dinner at the park or their band. But in light of the new guidelines, I think they're regrouping right now, and we're getting calls every day from Chris Craft people saying, can we sign up? Can we sign up? So
Wow.
we're excited.
Yeah.
We were mentioning at our board meeting the idea of having people take a selfie with their favorite boat, but we weren't sure if you guys were going to limit the access down on the public dock. Do you know?
Yeah, I did have a conversation with Andy about this. He was concerned when everything's still 6 feet, apart. He was wondering how the open house boat component of the event was going to go.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to talk to him again about that in light of the new kind of information we have and see. But I think it's a great idea, but we just need to make sure that they're comfortable with it.
Sure.
I
Okay.
did see on the news last night that they're supposed to be sending out more clearer guidelines as of Monday, was what I heard on the news. So hopefully everyone will have a little bit better understanding of what we can expect. Because I know well, it's a whole nother thing, but hopefully we'll find out more, and seems like they're leaning towards, opening everything up and making the rules a little clearer.
I should have more information by the next meeting, or I could even talk to him and shoot out an email as soon as I find out.
That'd be fantastic.
And
That'd be great.
I grabbed a ladies' night out poster, so I can speak to that whenever you're ready.
Yeah, oh, perfect. Go ahead and do ladies' night out, Monica.
Okay, so ladies weekend out. We've done it very much like an outdoor kind of, it's all weekend. It's June 4th, 5th, and 6th. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Snap a selfie of yourself in a downtown Port Orchard business wearing your favorite mask with appropriate social distancing. Share on Facebook or Instagram, and we've got a hashtag Ladies Weekend Out Port Orchard and POBSA info. And then we're doing daily drawings and gifts from the downtown businesses. And I believe Kathleen is working on getting a list of what the merchants are doing. So we just did posters, and we have delivered them around town and hung them up at a variety of locations. And hopefully we'll see a lot of foot traffic and people walking out, and it'll be a beautiful weekend that will just hold the vision for that.
Fantastic. The other thing we had on here is night market, but I do not see Sam in attendance to discuss it. I don't know if anyone else has any info on that. That's kind of her baby. Oh.
At the board meeting, we were talking about, Corrine had approached the guy who owns the gravel lot next to Josephine's that's all enclosed by fence. And that was at the time that we had thought about it, we had not heard anything from the city, and there was a kind of a no-go on city property. So we were thinking that with that being, yeah, let me just finish this up and then I'll let you follow up, Rob. Thanks, I appreciate that. So we thought, she approached the owner to see if we could just do an enclosed thing. We were thinking that we would have monitors at one entry to enter and have people mask, and we were going to write up a whole set of guidelines for social distancing, and we would have a handful of people. But that's all. Corrine was still following up with the guy who owned the lot. Rob, what have you got? I just saw.
And what was when is the date of that potential date of that event? Because things are evolving so fast right now.
Yeah, we just got the email from Brandy. We started our meeting with that. So
yeah.
Susan, do you have the dates of that? Isn't that the Chris Craft rendezvous? Oh no, with the night markets was the first Saturday in July. So July 10th. And then
I think you'll be okay. So
yeah.
Let me couch that
with the headline.
The rules are evolving so quickly, and we don't know what the rules are. And this is like what it was in the beginning, where every other day something new rolls out. The indications we're getting is, provided the numbers continue to go where we're headed, as of July 1st, it's everything's free game, and we're kind of proceeding under that guidance until, of course, we got to follow whatever the rules the governor puts out, and Labor and Industries and the other regulatory agencies. But we're planning on so if you got a message from Brandy, you probably already know, next Tuesday we're planning on lifting the prohibition on accepting applications.
Okay.
And as of July 1st, we're game for anything. So provided whatever rules are in place at that time allow, and whatever things we have to do that we don't know of at this time, but we're prepared to start processing applications, and I don't see any restrictions on the city side as of July 1st. And we're opening City Hall back up, soft opening June 7th for walk-in traffic only to the common areas. And kind of the same thing, we're just officially going to do it as of July 1st. We're not in a position though to rent our rooms or facilities because of the additional cleaning requirements. My only people that I would have to do that are my public works department. And I think everybody wants them out fixing potholes and fixing sewer and water problems, and not wiping down rooms after somebody's used a meeting room at City Hall. So we're going to, until those additional cleaning requirements have been lifted, we're going to continue not to lease our facilities out. So that's what I know on this front today.
Thank you. Sharon, did you have a question? I saw you raise your hand.
I did for Rob, if you know. If not, I'll email Brandy. Our board is planning to meet on Monday evening to discuss the possibility of moving the fireworks now from September 18th to July 4th to really kick off a great big opening with our vendors on the waterfront and concerts. But we have a window that Halo Fireworks has to apply for the permit. Is that 45 days prior to the event?
We'll work with you, Sharon.
Yeah.
These are unprecedented times. We will work with you. That's what
Okay.
you want to do. We will
Right.
move heaven and earth. Now, COVID's a fickle thing. It's
so fickle that Helene and I scheduled a trip to Rapid City, South Dakota, Mount Rushmore for the 4th of July. My hotel is bought and paid for. Airline tickets are bought and paid for. So I am SOL of not being able to be here for that event. But the board is looking at moving it to the 4th if it's all possible. I emailed Halo Fireworks this morning and asked him what the possibility was as far as permits with the city and the Coast Guard time permitting, and if he had the shells.
Yeah. So there are other agencies like the Coast Guard and things that we have to, so please follow up with Brandy. I mean, I'm about get it done, but
Okay.
there's the regulatory aspects of things, and some of those things aren't under our control. So, please do it. Yeah. And do it today and make sure that, and get your application in Wednesday. Applications, we'll start accepting them next Wednesday.
Okay, mine will be there.
Well,
Okay.
as we're going forward, Merritt, do you want to just continue on? Do you have anything else?
Wait. There's a question from
Oh, I'm sorry, Chris.
Okay.
unmute.
Unmute you.
Do you know whether the LTAC people are going to meet and discuss event LTAC applications? 'Cause
Eventually.
that's going to impact whether we
This has just all been sprung on us.
I know.
Wasn't that the meeting that's happening? And so, Chris, I sent an email late last night that I saw in the POBSA info that Brandy had
That
sent out.
wasn't LTAC. That
It
was
wasn't?
the city.
It was
no, that
event
was the city
application.
meeting.
It's
of
event
permit.
applications. Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
I
right.
do want to say
it's a
though,
process. It's not like we're going to be able to snap our fingers. And I mean, the committee has to make we have to solicit applications. We have to, so I'm certain we're going to start that process, but it's a couple months from start to finish if we're lucky, if everybody agrees on what the priorities are.
No, I understand that, but if they're not even going to start the process, that knowing that they're going to makes a difference in terms of
Yeah.
planning.
It's a council decision. What that I can't fathom why we wouldn't start a process. problem is this process is likely going to go beyond this festival season, unfortunately. I mean, it just does, because the committee's got, you have to solicit applications. The committee has to meet, then they have to make a recommendation to the city council. You're talking 8 weeks minimum so, and I don't know how much help that would be this. I mean, we're going to be in August before I think we would be able to start deploying dollars, but I'll ask the question.
Yeah,
Because it's all about reimbursement. I mean, if you know that the potential for the reimbursement is coming, you can plan accordingly.
Correct, but you can't plan for it until the city council approves it,
Right.
because it changes.
No, I understand.
So I'd hate for you to spend money thinking you're going to get a reimbursement and then it gets tweaked. So,
Okay.
so I'll ask the question. It's a fair question. There's just this all happened. I was all of a sudden things changed overnight.
It did, and it could change back again overnight too.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Mary, do you have anything else you'd like to add while we have you on the platform?
Oh gosh, where do I start? There's too much going on, which is a good problem. The community center project, we'll have if you can't sleep Tuesday night and you want to watch the city council meeting, or you can watch the video the next day, we'll have the unveiling of the site, the schematic design and the elevation. So you'll be able to see the facade and you'll be able to see the floor plan. It was shared with the library folks earlier this week. I'm really excited where we're headed with this. I'm in negotiations with the bank on that property, and Ken's gonna have to move into a tent out in the parking lot. That's okay.
You won't mind.
Don't mind at all. No. We've got a grant funding a roundabout at Bethel and Lincoln, and
Nice.
we put some additional scope, and we're going to pursue. We're going to design and pursue an additional grant for Mitchell and Lincoln. And so we'd have a pair of roundabouts there, because as we designed the one roundabout, we determined that this area would function better with a pair of roundabouts, because you'd have stop signs over at Mitchell, potentially backing up and buses and things. So provided we can, the city council gave the head nod to put a couple $100,000 into an additional scope for the design, and hopefully we'll get another grant. I mean, we can make it work with one roundabout. It just becomes a better project with two roundabouts. And we got good indications from the Transportation Improvement Board when we talked to them that this is a project that they would likely fund for us this year. So the state is designing the roundabout down at Kentucky Fried Chicken, and I'm not certain when their construction start date is. I don't know that it'll be this construction season, but I know they're actively designing that, and they have the right of way they need, I believe, to build that. Moving across Ruby Creek, if that's the area there at Sedgwick and Sydney, you've seen a significant amount of clearing there. That is a high-end 220 unit apartment facility. And Kitsap Transit, I just learned yesterday, they're acquiring property to the south of that, on the other side of Ruby Creek, for a 220 stall park and ride lot. And I just learned yesterday that they got state funding for the construction of that. So we just have to finish the design and acquire the property, and we'll be off and running on a new park and ride lot out in the south end of the city. And it's just my long-term goal is to not store cars on our waterfront and have more parks and open space, but we have to have some place for those commuters to be able to park. And it's a huge step in that direction. We've got a survey going for the McCormick Village. If you'd like to take that, you don't have to live in McCormick Woods to participate. And that's the commercial village, and that will have probably some boutique shops and some different types of some townhome type stuff and cottage type stuff is what is being envisioned there. So they're soliciting input from the city, or actually from the community on what amenities you'd like to see there. And I've got a park survey. We just got the signs up yesterday. You're going to see some signs with the QR code on them, or you could go to the city's website. We're just wanting to know what you'd like to see in our parks. So walk up with your smartphone and use your camera, and it'll take you to that survey. And because we want to know what you think about our parks and what we should be adding to our parks here in the future. I know I'm missing things, but those are the highlights. We're pedaling. You wouldn't know that COVID has slowed things down. From a construction activity aspect, things are really, really moving in the city, which is helping our revenue. We're seeing historic revenues. Part of it is people shopping local. The online retail goes to your doorstep, and construction activity. We're trending more than 20% above last year's best ever sales tax numbers. So it's very exciting.
All right, well, thank you so much. We are now moving on to our special guest speaker. I'd like to welcome the new executive director for Visit Kitsap, Beth Javens. I hope I'm saying your name right.
And
perfect.
Beth,
Can you? Yep, there you go. Welcome.
Beth, do you want to show a slideshow? Because if you do, I'm going to make you a host.
Sure. Yeah, I have some slides to share with you this morning. I think some of them may be slides you may have seen from when Patty was my predecessor and your previous contact with VKP. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Mayor. Nice to see you on this call as well. It's great to hear about all of your plans that you've got event planning going on. You've got economic relief going on. You've got record sales tax and economic impact happening. So that's all good. I'll share some data with you that we have from the state as well in my slideshow. So I know that Corinne had asked me to just provide a little bit of background about myself to you so that you knew a little bit more about me. I think first and foremost, I used to work for a downtown organization. I've had, the Main Street program and downtown development and International Downtown Association. A lot of my colleagues and friends are in that world. So I share a lot of your independent business opportunities and challenges and things that happen within a business district. But primarily I have been working on behalf of destination marketing organizations for the better part of 20 years. So I'm very pleased to be working on behalf of the VKP. I recently moved here to launch the Visit Issaquah, brand new destination marketing organization. And actually that's where I'm in my kitchen in Issaquah currently. But I will be over in the Manette District beginning next week when I move. So I've been doing a little bit of a commute, but I'm so excited to have this opportunity and, moving to Issaquah and having begun my career in Main Street in Wyoming, working as an account manager for Wyoming Travel and Tourism. That's really where I caught the bug for promoting destinations. And, at the time, destination marketing was known as convention and visitor bureaus, and they've sort of evolved with the times. But I've worked in various capacities, whether it's sales or sports marketing, and again, eventually as a director for 2 mid-sized DMOs. So I did return to fully working with an accredited Main Street program in Florida while I was helping my mom retire, and then moved back here to help Issaquah launch their new DMO. So my affinity for Kitsap and my new home is basically derived from living and working in similar communities in California, in the North Bay and the East Bay of California, where I spent 15 years. But I'm basically here to hear more about what your plans are and how we can help enhance what you're doing, how we can help promote your events, your businesses, drive more lodging tax into the lodging tax fund. We have a very specific formula that I don't have for you today, but I'm happy to share at a lodging tax meeting as well, to show how many room nights it takes just to put some funds back into a lodging tax fund. So also wanted to let you know that we do have some sponsorship opportunities for you for your events, if we can work on campaigns to help try and drive some of those room nights. So hearing your plans for some of your events. Of course, we know that the pandemic has been a moving target, but it appears what we have a weekly call with our advocates in Olympia, and they have a call into the governor's office, and working with Washington Hospitality Association and the Washington Destination Marketing Organization. We get some pretty good guidance on every Friday at about 11 o'clock. So all things hopefully pointing in the right direction, that we can open on June 30th and have our events resume as they had in the past. So today's topics, really, I wanted to just cover some of the ads and the promotion schedule that we have in place, that Patty had in place with VKP, and what we're doing for the remainder of the year. I wanted to chat with you a little bit about the farmers market, how that impacts your businesses, and then also the Ride the Tide event that's happening. We've got some advertising opportunities that are out there with phase appropriate messaging, of course, with KUOW, with two major magazines, both in Washington State and also in Oregon, Northwest Travel and Adventure. And then we also have an opportunity to participate in a blogger, vlogger, podcast, influencer trade show that is coming to the state of Washington, that we would like to put some itineraries together. Personally, I feel like our peninsula is a bargain. We have so much to offer people, and our prices are very affordable. We'd like to be collecting lots of lodging tax and lots of sales tax revenue for you and business going through your doors. And we have a wide net that we can cast now, because most of what we're hearing is the travel is going to continue to be driven towards outdoor leisure, and we are perfectly positioned for that. So those are things that we want to capitalize on for the next 2 years as much as possible. And we're going to be in a competition basically with every outdoor recreation center, basically every county that has any outdoor. That's what we're all about here in Washington State, and also the West Coast. So we're looking at, potentially down into Oregon, Montana, Idaho. We've used some data-driven strategies in Issaquah to try and target those audiences so that we know very precisely. We have a pretty good idea where people are coming from now, but we have some pretty precise tools that we want to add to our arsenal so that we make sure we're targeting the right advertising and the right business for the BKP. So we also want to talk with you about doing business post-pandemic. What's new? Because we've seen a lot of new businesses open. So we've had some closures, and so getting that information and making sure that we're communicating with you and you're communicating with us, so we have that good flow of communication, submitting information on our website. And if there's a webinar that we can provide on how to do that, or if you need any other information, I'm learning right along with you. I've been here, this is my 3rd week, and really this week is kind of a wash because I got my 2nd shot on Monday. So I've been, I've been working from my couch basically this week, but so again, working right along with you. Great to hear that, you've got some new businesses. We've had some coverage with the Puget Sound Business Journal for your 2 new businesses. With Revival and I believe Hippie Witch. And I want to talk a little bit about maybe some potential updates to the collateral on the website. If there's anything on there that we need to change or we need to edit, broken links or anything like that. Just want to make sure all that stuff is updated and your listings are correct. Any other potential projects for collaboration. There has been some discussion through the Washington Trust about a maritime heritage focus group that Patty had been working on. And so I'm trying to follow up on that and how that would impact you. We also want to just, again, make sure we've got the events right, and then talk a little bit more about the business outreach, the economic industry disaster loans in some areas in the county. For example, and I'm not sure if Port Orchard, because I don't have the map in front of me right now, if there are parts of Port Orchard that would apply for that. I know Bremerton and parts of Paulsboro actually would qualify. And just making sure that everyone's aware of the shuttered venue grants, the restaurant revitalization grants. The American Rescue Plan is really designed for our perspective, from the tourism and hospitality perspective, to counteract the negative impacts of what has happened with the pandemic. And so a lot of the funds, both state and local, are really to be, some of them directed towards tourism, travel, hospitality, restaurants, anything that's in the hospitality realm. So I will go ahead and share my screen. That's just a brief overview. And let's see here. Make sure we get the right. Yesterday I was sharing my screen with someone and they said it was black right away. So just give it a minute. Does anybody have any questions before I get started with this?
It looks great. We can see it.
Yeah, you can?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, great. So this is my sort of more avant-garde introduction today with the black font today. But jumping in, I grabbed these screenshots while you were talking about the American Rescue Plan, because this is from the U.S. Travel Association, and that's where we get a lot of our information and what the eligible uses are. And if you want this, I can send this out to you so that you can see what the eligible uses are: responding to the COVID public health emergency, responding to negative economic impacts of the pandemic, including aid to impacted industries such as tourism, travel, and hospitality. And I would say the lodging tax, because it came up earlier. Lodging tax has been really the safety net for the DMOs, over the course of the last year and a half.
Sorry to interrupt, Beth. Can you get it into a slideshow view? Because we can see all of your stuff on your screen.
Sorry about that.
It would just be a lot easier, I think, for.
You bet.
Thank you.
I hope I can do it here. Hold on. Let me do that. I hope I did it. Well, maybe I didn't do it right.
We'll take whatever we can get.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. Let me
You're
see
right.
if I can get it. Yeah, you are. You're seeing all the sidebar. Let me get rid of that. Oh, let's.
Go up to slideshow.
There we go. Is that a little bit better?
Slideshow at the top.
Okay.
Zoom can be
Slideshow.
fickle with PowerPoints, I've found. Sometimes I'm not able to get my slideshows to work.
Okay. Well,
That's all
I
right.
have
That's
I have the deck, so I can send it to you, but it's not that I don't feel like that's very helpful if I can't get, let's see. Let me see if I can get that. Oh, is that better?
Yes.
Would that be helpful? I can put it on 250%, 250% magnified. That might help a little bit better. So can everyone see that?
Thank you. Yes.
Okay. Sorry, you're going to get a little bit of the draw, design, transitions, animations at the top nav bar. But again, just U.S. Travel is who we usually refer to. We jump on weekly calls. They're not weekly calls anymore, but they were last year. Now they're sort of dwindling back to monthly calls. But the funds can be used for purposes through December 2024. Of course, I'm sure the mayor's very familiar with all the intricacies of all the funding that's coming in, covering workers for performing essential tasks, government revenue losses due to the pandemic, and then infrastructure cannot be used. States cannot use the funds to cover tax cuts, tax deferrals, pension payments made within a certain time frame. And then also the Economic Adjustment Assistance Grants, which is $3 billion to the Economic Development, the EDA. That was what I was talking about earlier. So there are some communities that were eligible for that because they met a low income threshold. Then there's also $750 million set aside for communities that have suffered economic injury in the hospitality sector, mostly outdoor travel and tourism. So that could be nonprofits, that could be state and local governments, it could be the tribes. And then most people are probably already in that queue right now, applying for that. So I'm going to just move on a little bit. Let me shrink that down a little bit. I'm sure you've seen some of these at Josephine's. They're one of our annexes for visitor information, and I probably need to get over there and restock you. We're currently replenishing and revising and editing all of our maps, making sure everything's updated because we know some things have changed. We've got a lot of changes in business hours. Farmers markets are moving to different days. So just getting up to speed on making sure that we have all that information correct, all that public facing information. The ferries, you know, they're going to start to see a lot more traffic. I believe we had 8 million ferry visits. This isn't counting fast ferry, but 8 million between the 4 routes, north to south and central. So obviously Bainbridge is one of the most popular, followed by Kingston, Edmonds, and then Bremerton. And this is, you know, having the ferry service resuming and having people traveling is going to be really important to get people over to the peninsula. So what we do, obviously, promoting, you know, the community, what can we do for you, cross-selling the region, culture, history, art, nature, golf, outdoors, urban trails, obviously with the Kitsap Peninsula National Water Trails, that is going to be a really integral and important part of our messaging going forward. We think it's an untapped resource, and we are going to have some more dedicated resources to that website and our social media, our Instagram and Facebook. We were founded in 1983, so this organization's been around for a very long time and has served a very important purpose in telling the story of the Kitsap Peninsula and all the communities within it. We are a member of the Washington State Destination Marketing Organization, and we're funded by the county, local cities, lodging tax, tribes, and other organizations affiliated with government agencies, and our office is in Silverdale. We are poised to tell the region's story. Again, I mentioned some of the publications and some of the messaging that's out there. We have had to be very careful. A lot of people, obviously, whenever we have any sort of crisis, this happened with the financial crisis. It happened briefly around 9/11. You know, marketing is always the first thing that gets yanked out of the budget, and that's why the lodging tax funds are so important to the DMOs and to the hospitality sector, because that is the safety net that we can continue to be top of mind when other people are not doing any sort of marketing. We're not really doing active marketing, but we're just staying top of mind because we know people were planning. You were all talking about your vacations and places that you were going to be going, and some of you have already booked. So people had lots of downtime and they were looking for what that inspiration was going to be. And we wanted to make sure that the messaging was still there. So we did some of that. And it's, you know, holistically speaking, it's heads and beds. It's what we call cheeks and seats, right? The benchmark has always been hotel and lodging tax and hotel rooms. And that's, you know, singularly the intent and purpose of what we want to try and do is replenish that fund. It's a revenue stream and we want to keep it going. But there's also the, you know, holistic portion of this, which is, you know, our day trippers, people who are coming over on the ferry for the afternoon, people that find you, you know, they might get off at Bremerton, but they're taking the foot ferry over to you. So, you know, we want to make sure that we have a holistic perspective that includes recreation, includes dining, includes lodging, includes outdoor. And then Patty was really, really big on making sure that people understood that we are not just a gateway, although we have so much proximity to these, what the most popular activities in the state of Washington, whether it's Seattle or Olympic, or, you know, our proximity to Mount Rainier and the national parks, but we are our own destination in our own right and have so many things to be up to offer to visitors. And then this was a slide that I found, this hasn't been updated that I know of, where she might have gotten this information, but we do have some information from the state that I got last week that I'll show you. But, you know, there has been a steady increase in all of our all of our segments and sectors. And so if I don't know if you can see this, I'll try and blow it up a little bit more. I don't know if that's helpful. Can you
That
guys
looks
see
great.
that?
Yeah, that looks great.
Okay,
We can't
so
see the
this, we
last
get,
column.
go ahead.
We can't see the last column. We can see business sales and employment, whatever that
Okay.
is in L, but
I'm-
great. We can see the
Let me
county.
get rid of this. Let me get rid of that. That might
Oh,
help.
that's perfect.
Okay, so this is as a member of the Washington Tourism Alliance and as a member of the Washington State Destination Marketing Organization, we receive economics and reports from them regarding how all the counties in the state are doing in terms of sales, employment, sales on state and local taxes, labor income, and where we sit in that mix, right? So Adams always populates on these. This is a Tableau platform. They always populate first because they're A. But you know, it's easy for me to find us because we're down here with Kitsap right under King County. So I always look for the biggest number and then I go down one line. But we are consistently and have been consistently over the last 5 years sitting at number, 6, 7, 8, and 9 out of almost 40 counties in the state of Washington for a number of things, whether it's sales. I'll go to the next one. Right here, you can see this is food and beverage spending. This is 2020. This is not, I don't think I have 2019 numbers in here, but I can pull them. And I think what's interesting is in some cases we're surpassing Yakima or we're surpassing Clark County or Benton County in some sections. Not that's pretty hefty. There's a lot of density there. So, but I think just to put our region in perspective and how important this segment is to, keeping those funds going and getting spending, and food and beverage by far, I think is our most important. You can see it outpaces retail, recreation, and transportation. And this is accommodations over here on the left-hand side. And let's see, go down. Oops. Arrow down, Beth, there we go. Okay, so it looks like I have to shrink this to see what report that is. Looks like visitor spending by category, but I don't have a year for this one. But you can see, how many millions of dollars have been spent in accommodations. Food and beverage, again, like I said, this number, I'll show you, get a little bit bigger there. That's a pretty big number there, $596 million. And this is over a couple year period, I believe. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, so this was in 2019. And so we've seen obviously a much smaller spend. I think it's around 270 or 250 from what 2019 was, which was 374 million. And again, across all these segments, accommodations, food and beverage, retail, recreation, transportation. So, but Kitsap has been showing a very strong performance over the last few years, and we want to sort of right that ship this year. And I think as we have heard and we have seen, the hotels and all of the businesses are going to hopefully, I think the biggest challenge for this industry right now is hiring, at least on the hotel side. And, they're having difficulty finding staff. Food and beverage is having difficulty finding staff. People are either holding out because they've gotten the benefits and employment benefits, or the other side of that coin is people had such a difficult time getting the benefits to begin with. And because of the moving target with the phases and businesses opening and having to, scale back and ramp up and scale back and ramp up, they don't want to come off, that unemployment until they know that they are back to work full time. So depending on, which argument you're aligned with, but they both make sense to me. And then this is just a sample of a screenshot of, some of the resources that that the VKP offered during the pandemic. For tourism partners, we started Kitsap Bites. We have a listing service again. So if you need us, I mean, we are happy to help, get your listing up there. I think we prefer that the business to do it because if you have an event, you have a file or a photo that you want to use, then we know that it's the right one. But if you need help, we're here to help you. And the last slide I wanted to show you is, again, this is a conference that has been bumped around a couple times, but we're hopeful will be taking place in the Tri-Cities. Washington State does not get funded very well for tourism and hospitality. It's about 2% of our economy here. And because the state doesn't have as much competitive funding as some of our other states, right? California just got $95 million from the governor to help promote tourism. And that's on top of what they're already collecting from rental car assessment. So we try to grab and gravitate to any sort of opportunity we can get. And this isn't just for bloggers and podcasters and, influencers. These are all vetted, and it's also for traditional media journalists as well. And so there's an opportunity for you to showcase your community. I think we're going to be participating in this and try and have an itinerary in every community that we can, and bringing people into the Kitsap Peninsula and have them go on an amazing familiarization, what we call a familiarization tour, and then they'll go out and blog and write and talk about our community. So that's something that you may be hearing from me about here in short order because it's coming up in October. But again, the date has been moved around a couple of times because of the pandemic, but this date is locked in, and we'd love to see an itinerary from Port Orchard, and I'll be asking you to help me, create that. What we do is we would come in as the major sponsor of this itinerary and then work with the communities within the VKP purview to find those itineraries and highlight the best of your community for those influencers and bloggers and the registrants and the attendees that are coming. So that's what I have. That was a long time. I guess I can talk for 25 minutes, but I really want to hear a lot more about what your hopes are and what you would like from us and where we're aligned and where we can help you.
All right. Thank you so much. That was so informative.
I'm hoping that I can answer. Hopefully I can answer some questions if you have any.
So
You
I'm
guys
going to
get
put
up
this
really
back on
early in the
gallery
morning.
view. Any questions from any of you guys out there? You beautiful people. Sue Ann dashed off, so I'm now taking over the helm. No questions? Well, I was fascinated by the Grafton charts and the spending and the money, and we're super excited to have you take over and step into this new role and see how things transform. So thank you for that. And then in the rest of our meeting, we're just wrapping up here. I'd love to do what we call community partner updates. So Matt, you want to give us a chamber update?
Sure. Well, as Mayor Patansu said, things are rapidly evolving, and they're rapidly evolving in our world also. Some of the things that are, I guess, knowns or things that we can count on is the fact that we are going to be putting on the cornhole tournament again this year, somewhere. We're not sure where and when and how, but it was a lot of fun in 2019, and in 2020, 27 feet apart on a cornhole tournament wasn't far enough. But this year we are going to rock and roll it. We're going to put that on. We're conducting our preliminary tournaments now, starting in June. I don't know if you've noticed down at the public market, we have our community business center where we would love to promote your ideas as far as things that are going on. So, but the part of the problem is that we need to know what's going on. So you need to let us know. It's really hard for us to track down all of the things that are happening in South Kitsap. I'm excited to hear that Chris Kraft is coming back this year, and So being able to update our monitor and our brochures and stuff like that at the public market is critical for us. We had our first luncheon last week. It was a live in-person luncheon. James was there. Thanks for coming and hanging out with us, James. It was, we had 20 people. We had 2 people at a table. We had the whole room was spread out. John Clausen came and spoke about the what's going on with Kitsap Transit, and as I'm sure you're all aware, a miracle has happened in South Kitsap with the foot ferry actually happening in Southworth, because I, for one, doubted it for years and years, but we're excited that it's finally here. But next month we are doing another in-person luncheon. The location is to be determined, but we are having a fire chief, Chief Fawcett. They've got an EMS levy coming on in August, so we'll be putting that on in June, and encourage everybody to come on out. And there is just a lot going on, and we're doing the best we can. Our website, Kitsap COVID-19, has all the resources. A lot of the resources that Beth talked about. There's I don't want to say a lot of money out there, but there's money out there, and Port Orchard is eligible for the EIDL and the extended EIDL. So if you haven't applied for that, please do that. That's additional funding out there for you. So I could go on, but I know that I'll yield the rest of my day to Sharon King, because Sharon always has lots of things to say.
Wait, Matt, I can read, and I can see that right there over your shoulder it says South Kitsap Chamber of Commerce. Did you guys have a name change?
Yeah. So back in February, we expanded, in an effort to be more regional. We changed our name to the South Kitsap Chamber of Commerce, so that that way the people out in Olalla can feel welcome also. Because it's interesting, because when you think of places like West Bay Auto on Mile Hill, I don't know how many of you know this, but they're not in the city. They are actually county. And it's weird the way that the south side of Mile Hill up there is county, and the north side is city. So we're just trying to be as welcoming as possible to everybody in the south end of the county.
That's cool. Well, thanks for that. All right, is Sharon here? Yeah, Sharon, you want to roll? And then Kathy, I'd love to hear from you too. That'd be great.
Well, because of the city's email, Fathoms is doing flip-flops everywhere now, and our board is meeting tomorrow night. I forwarded that email immediately to all of our board members, because the timing was perfect. We just had a board meeting, and I said I will get with Brandy and see what we're looking at. I haven't heard from her yet, and then boom, I go check my email the next day, and here's an email from Brandy. So that got out to all the board members. So we're having a discussion on Monday night about flip-flopping from September for the 4th of July fireworks to actual July 4th. And the email I've sent out to John Miller at WAVE to see whether, not at WAVE, but Halo Fireworks, to see permit-wise with the city and the Coast Guard, and whether or not we have the shells for the show. I'm assuming he's got shells stockpiled somewhere. And so WAVE is on board for sponsorship. We still have last year's money from the Port of Bremerton, and so we can have a really good show. It's just a question of timing and permit-wise if that can happen. We obviously cannot have the parade the end of June as always, so we still have that tentatively scheduled for the 18th of September. We will now immediately have our applications ready to roll for an August event, Festival by the Bay. June 26th at the South Kitsap Regional Community Park, we are still planning to do the Hot Foot 5K run. Scott Lucky is our guru on that run, and he is working with the county and state guidelines for that run. Vendor show wise, without having any vendor shows last year and no vendor shows to this point this year for May and June, our funds are really, really down. We have parade sponsorship still hanging in there from 2 years ago, because we didn't get to have our parade last year. So hopefully we'll have the parade in September. And one nice thing about the parade being in September, we hope to attract some high school bands that can come into our town and bring a lot more people in, because in June, school's out and no one is there to come play except our high school volunteer band that we always have in our parade. So it might be advantageous for us to end the season with a big parade and not start it with a big parade. So hopefully we'll attract some new bands from other high school areas. I think it's Shelton that's having their parade on the same day in September that we have moved ours to. But it is what it is, and we'll take what we can get and go forward and do the best we can for Port Orchard and all of South Kitsap, and have a fun event and make it happen. So we're excited to be able to come back. Now, that being said, concerts are starting on the waterfront June 3rd. And that is our first concert, which we have Buck and Elizabeth doing a Bob Dylan tribute. And what we're coming up with this year is we're going to be sending out weekly flyers. Our whole schedule for concerts booked all the way through the first week in September, the first Thursday in September, is on our website, and that's posted on Facebook. And I've emailed most of you folks that, and I'll resend it out to you again, but I will also be sending you the weekly flyers that we're going to be posting on social media, which has a picture of the band, their website, and if that band is particularly sponsored, we're featuring the sponsor on that one, which June 3rd is sponsored by Canopy World. They're a new sponsor. And so, Mr. Mayor, I'm looking forward to LTAC money so that we can make sure that we have everything covered this year. Any questions for any of you?
That sounds.
I've already sent the email to Jay Rosapepe, who's the chair of that committee, while we were talking, you guys were talking, so.
Oh, good.
So
Good.
get back to you. Brandy will get back to you as soon as we know something.
Okay, well, that would make a big difference. I'm going to go after Columbia Bank to sponsor the Battle of the Bands, because we technically were not doing a Battle of the Bands at all in September. But now if we can do our August event, then we will continue on with the Battle of the Bands, and I'll try and secure them as a sponsor for that event. It was a great when we did it in 2019, and we so look forward to doing that again and just bringing some joy downtown.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Kathy Garcia, do you want to tell us about what's going on at the port?
Sure. How excited. I'm super excited that things are going to get back to normal and events. We're talking events again. Our boaters are already coming. So I can't wait to let them know that there's going to be events and things happening and things for them to do, because we've already got a whole bunch of weekends in the summer booked. And people are calling every day asking, is the car show happening? Are the fireworks happening? You know, what kinds of things can we do? So I'm looking forward to working with all of you. And as soon as you get your event information, let us know so we can help you promote it. As we talked about earlier, Chris Crafts are coming. I've got some classic yachts coming, all kinds of yacht clubs coming. So what I'd like to, again, welcome all the businesses to participate in our boater bags. Get me coupons. We give every boater a really nice cloth bag that we insert information about Port Orchard. Chris is always great about getting me the walking map and things like that we put in our boater bags so that people know where to find the businesses. But your little coupon or special gift, the candy shop would give us little jelly beans, you know, anything like that that promotes your business and gets them through your door. We're happy to help, and why not? They're here and they want to go out and explore. So jump on board.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Can I add
James, I was going to say,
yeah.
James, do you have anything else to add?
I do. One thing we do have confirmed during the Chris Craft is also the Lady Washington will be visiting us that same period of time.
Yay.
That's going to be exciting. And also we're pushing for a social media push. So any opportunity for an event that you are posting on social media, please let us know. Send us an email so we can link it up with the port social media accounts and we can cross-reference and cross-advertise for everyone. I think there's a great opportunity to use that tool to really promote our getting back to normal and a really exciting summer.
That's
What is
awesome.
the date? What is the date that Chris Kraft will be here?
They're here what is it, 16th,
July 8th?
18th? No, not the 8th, the 6th, it's the next weekend.
Oh,
They're here the 15th through the 18th.
Thank you.
Mhm.
well, then I have a correction because the Lady Washington will be here the 8th through 11th.
So it's preceding.
Yes. We'll have one old wood boat and then a lot of old wood boats.
That's awesome. It is so exciting to think about just things shifting in a positive way. Yes, Leslie, I can see your hand up. Can you unmute? Thank you. I was gonna.
That's all right. I apologize for the noise if you're hearing some noise here. Still at the auction and in Indy. One of the things that I could maybe use some help on is that our Rotary group, Minister of Fun group, is going to do a shop and dine crawl on July 21st. And the idea was to start someplace and have a drink, then go shopping around some of the areas, have an appetizer someplace, go to the museums, and then continue on. What would help benefit? This is all to benefit our obviously our community. Do you have any thoughts of how we could make that best help you guys?
The shop and dine crawl specifically? Yeah, we
It's
love
just,
that.
yeah.
That sounds great. Well, I don't have any restaurants that are here that, but certainly we can. When is the dates of those?
We're going to do it the July 21st, and obviously it's Rotarians getting together because we enjoy each other's company, but surely anybody can join us. Rob, it'd be fun to have the South Kitsap Rotary, get involved with that as well. That would be fun. I know that we're going to be trying to get a baseball game again started with the South Kitsap Rotary. So hopefully we can get that scheduled as well. But anyway.
How do you guys play baseball with your walkers?
Oh, you're very funny. And who won the bowling tournament, Rob?
You had Jeff Yawns, okay?
Well, Leslie, this is great. I'll make sure that we talk about this shop and dine crawl, and we'll get a board discussion together and reach out to our merchants and restaurants and things like that, because this would be really cool to add into what we're all doing downtown. So that's perfect. And July 21st, do you have a time frame? Do you guys?
Well, the hard part, I guess, was trying to get the people that are still working, at 5:30, but then the shops need to be open for us. And we did send an email to Corinne and let her know that to send that kind of an information out to you.
Okay,
but I don't know how to make that timing work yet. And that was part of my question to you, is how we can make that work so it'd be beneficial to those of us that are traveling, those of us that are not working versus working. And
Right.
then yet our businesses in town could still be open.
Right, doing something like 4 to 8 so that it kind of gets everybody kind of an early happy hour as well. And
There you go.
Peninsula Bevco has got some live music. They would probably be really delighted to do something. And the La Palapa has been really interested in doing things. And then of course the Dock, the Brick House, and Homemade Cafe is closed during those hours. But yeah, that's great. And now that we've got the kind of South Kitsap chamber, we could probably do a little outreach as well. So that's fun. What a great idea.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we're kind of wrapping up at the 9 o'clock hour. I appreciate everybody's time. Is there any other announcements or please and thank yous? Anybody got anything? I think everybody has spoke.
Monica, I have one thing, and it's questionable whether people think it's a business related issue, and it's a quasi political issue. But the vaccines, if you're on the fence about it, talk to your healthcare provider, get some straight answers, and consider it. So
You were just
it'll
making a vaccine plug. I think we should fine you.
no,
But we don't have that in it's all good.
but you know, but the interesting thing is that, you know, if Beth wants to get people over here from Seattle,
Yeah.
you know, that's the way to open things up.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. I don't know what our statistic numbers are, but it's always shocking to me that we're not higher in the vaccine compliance, but I'm in healthcare. So, you know, it's a personal decision and,
Yep.
and a real life pandemic. So appreciate your support and your enthusiasm, and we've got you on recording. So that's great. And everybody else, anybody? No other announcements? Thank you so much for being here today, and it was so great to see everybody's faces and get the updates from all the partners. It's starting to feel like normal again. And Beth, thank you so much for joining us. That was very informative. We do have this meeting recorded. It'll go out to all of our members, and I posted up also on the POBSA YouTube page, which will probably happen tomorrow. Thanks, everybody. Oh yeah, Susan.
Our next meeting will be June 17th.
I love it. It takes a community to run a POBSA meeting. Thank you. Good night, everybody. Good night. Good day. Have a great day. Bye.
Okay. Yeah.